Hello, in this lesson I'd like to talk about love and truth, and I don't find them to be mutually exclusive concepts, that if you have love you can't have truth or vice versa. So I want to look at how to balance them, how to blend them for optimal impact. So first let's create this grid, and from top to bottom we have love, which can also be referred to as grace or even an invitation into relationship. And at the top is the high is level of that. So high love at the top, and then at the bottom there's basically no love. And from side to side we have truth, which can also come across as admonishment or even a challenge to grow. And to the right is a high level of truth, and to the left is no truth. So we create these four quadrants where we have high love, high truth on the top right, high love, low truth on the top left, high truth, low love on the bottom right, and low truth, low love on the bottom left. So if we look at each of these, we can kind of get a sense of what that might look like. So in the bottom left, if we have low love and low truth, there's really no relationship there. So there's not going to be a lot of energy, there's not going to be a lot of excitement, there's not going to be a lot of interaction. So this might be maybe the checkout lady at the grocery store. You only know her name because it's on her badge, and so you don't really have a relationship with her. So you can't say that there's a lot of love there, and there's probably not any truth being exchanged because the conversations are probably superficial. So that's what that might look like. If we look at high truth, low love, that can feel stressful because someone is constantly speaking truth to somebody else. Here's the truth, here's the truth, here's the truth, and they're not wrapping it in any type of love. That can be really difficult to take, and it can be discouraging because it feels like I just can't do anything right because they're constantly showing me what I'm doing wrong and where I need to improve, and that feels stressful. If you have high love, but not a lot of truth, that's kind of a real warm and fuzzy type of thing. So it's a cozy environment. It might be kind of like talking to your chaplain where everything is just encouraging, and maybe there's no growth opportunity there because the truth is not being spoken to advance you, to help you grow, to help you make some changes, to challenge you to become better. And I don't say anything negative against chaplains in this. It's just a common term that is used for this type of relationship. It's that warm, fuzzy, I'm just going to be your cheerleader and encourage you. When we have high love and high truth, we're speaking truth to challenge someone, to help them grow, to help them become a better person, but it's wrapped in and on a foundation of such love that it becomes like empowering to them instead of discouraging or stressful. And so that is really where the discipling relationship is you have that foundation of love and that intention of love, and that's where everything is coming from as you challenge them to grow and speak truth over them. I'd like to look at some scripture that I believe speaks of this, and then we will apply it to our quadrants. So let's read Matthew 13:3-8. Then he told them many things in parables, saying, A farmer went out to sow his seed. As he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Some fell on rocky places where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow, but when the sun came up, the plants were scorched, and they withered because they had no root. Other seed fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants. Still other seed fell on good soil, where it produced a crop, 100, 60, or 30 times what was sown. So we see Jesus speak of 4 different places that these seeds can fall. And I think of the seed as truth, as the Lord's word, as scripture, as things that are going to challenge us to become more Christ-like. So they fall on 4 places. 1, the path, where the birds ate it. 2, the rocky places. There was some soil there, but it didn't last because it wasn't able to grow deep enough roots. Among the thorns, where it choked them. and then on the good soil where it produced a good crop. So let's put these into the quadrant. And this is not necessarily a perfect fit, but I think it's a good enough fit to help demonstrate what the concept is. So let's look at the path. Some of the seed fell along the path, but it never took root because the birds ate it. So if I do speak truth to the checkout lady at the grocery store, we don't have that foundation of love and that relationship. It's probably going to fall on deaf ears, most likely. So it's as if I never even planted any seeds. It's as if I never even offered any seeds because the birds ate it up before it could even start to grow. Next, the rocky places. So there was some soil here, right? It took root in some shallow soil. And to me, the soil is that love, is that relationship of grace. And so that was able to grow some root, but it really didn't have a deep enough soil, which isn't because there wasn't a deep enough love, but I think that because it wasn't properly harvested. That's probably the wrong farming word. It wasn't properly tended to along the way, because in this relationship of high love and low truth, there isn't a lot of working the soil. It's let me make you feel better, and a rocky place for a cozy relationship, that kind of stings, doesn't it? So here I'm trying to create this cozy environment for someone where I'm just loving on them and offering them grace, but when I don't challenge them, I end up doing them a disservice. And so I think this rocky place is the better description of what I was trying to make a cozy place. That one kind of stings. Next, the thorns. They choked out the plants that we're trying to grow. Ugh, that to me feels stressful. That feels like I can't breathe. That feels like I can't relax. And so when it's high truth and high challenge, but no love, it feels like thorns choking me out. And that is certainly not a healthy environment. There is no growth there in the end. And then finally, some of the seed landed on good soil. That turned into a crop. What, hello, 60, 30, 100-fold? That bared fruit. That was, here's where the harvest word comes in. That grew some plants that you were able to harvest. So when we have the good soil, and the good soil is where I offer a lot of love, but I also offer the truth. And in that environment, I can tend to the soil. I can water the plants. The seeds took root. I watered them. They grew and they came to harvest and produce good fruit. So what might be some next steps in this? I like to look at my relationships and see what quadrant am I in with this person. Am I offering the love and the truth? Am I offering one more so than other? And they really need to balance. So if I have high in one and low in the other, that's a mismatch. And as we saw, those seeds are not going to grow, and it's not helping anybody at all. So really looking at, am I balancing those two? I would encourage you to work on refining your skills to deliver truth and love. I know people that are excellent truth speakers, but boy, do they have a hard time wrapping that in love and grace. And so it comes out as harsh, it comes out as criticism, it comes out possibly in a hurtful manner, and that may not be their intention. So make sure you are finding ways to speak truth into and over others in a way that is clear that it's coming from a loving place. And it doesn't count if you just say, I say this in love, and then you hammer them with something. I think that it needs to be more refined than that. Find ways to express truth so that it is received. I like to think of when I'm delivering a message to someone, I need to know my audience. I might want to hear it one way, but they might want to hear it a different way. And for me to respect that and meet them that way, that's more likely that they're going to receive it. I would encourage you to work on increasing the level of love in your relationships, because if you have high truth but low love, the solution for that is increasing your love, right? And if you have low love and low truth, well, let's increase the love. That's probably going to be easier to start with there. And then you can add the truth in, because if you add the truth in first without the love, now we're over in the choking of the thorns. And also, I just encourage you to look at how you receive truth wrapped in love, or even truth not wrapped in love. So to be able to receive that, and how do you respond when that truth is like in your face and it hasn't been wrapped in love? Because ideally I want them to wrap it in love, but not everybody's going to be able to always do that. So how can you receive that? And as we learn how to balance the truth and the love, that takes us up into that discipling quadrant, which is where we're supposed to be. This is how we are like Jesus, how we balance those two together to help disciple and grow. So one, we become more like Jesus, and then two, we're able to help others become more like Jesus. So I just want to encourage you to continue to work on balancing love and truth. I don't know that you just do it once and you're good to go, but I think it's a constant thing on my radar with different people. Some people it's easier to love than others, so I have to work a little bit harder on that. And I'm always aware of how am I balancing those two things, because if I have truth to speak, I want them to be able to receive it, and to receive it in a loving way. So I just bless you in your walk to be more like Jesus.